Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Today's edition is about African self-consciousness theory. There are two schools of thought that I know and read about, and it said that it is healthy for blacks to develop awareness and knowledge of their cultural identity, cultural heritage, and to recognize factors that affirm black life. We Africans, a lot of us, have imbibed Western life through education. There's nothing wrong in accepting or adapting to the Western lifestyle if you want, but forgetting your identity and heritage is not healthy because it is what you know that you pass to the next generation. So, this is one reason why, having met Iyalode Barbara last year, 2023, I was determined to bring her back, bring her to my show, at least to let us know how she, born, bred in the US, decided to go back to Africa, her roots. You're going to hear from her. You might find this interesting, so let me leave you now. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. Cheers, guys. I'm so happy to see you again after a long time.
Yes.
You remember the last time we saw there downstairs?
Yes.
I was like, who is Iyalode? And I went to meet her. So guys, you're welcome back to our channel. My name is Olubomi, and the first edition of my interviews here on this channel, I'm doing it with the daughter of the soil. Yeah, she's the daughter of the soil. I told you one time, one of my videos, that I was downstairs talking to somebody one day, and I saw this plate number, this license number, Iyalode, and no, typical Yoruba, and I'm like, eh, who is Iyalode here? This woman was really a Yoruba woman. And I went to knock on her window, like, hello, good afternoon, are you Iyalode? She said, yes. I said, how? Are you a Nigerian? She said, then with her accent, I'm like, no, she's not a Nigerian. So I told you that I was going to bring her. Here she is now. This is Iyalode Barbara Barrett. Mm-hmm. So let me start with, who are you?
Okay. First of all, I want to be sure to give respect to the tradition. I did not designate myself as Iyalode. I put that on my car because I initiated to Oshun, and I wanted to give recognition and props to Oshun as a divinity and Iyalode as a leader. So I chose that to go on my car.
So, so Oshun, why did you choose Oshun in all the African traditional religion deities?
Okay, this is one reason why I like IFA theology and the whole practice, is because based on, and to make the long story short, based on who we chose as far as our Ori, before we got to earth, what the Dafa will do, or the Erindilogun will do, the consultation, the divination, it will let you know which divinity is best for you. So I was told that Oshun would be the best one for me when I was initiated first, way back in 1992.
Oh my God.
Right, it's been a long time.
But before that, what was the practice?
What
Your
practice?
religion?
I was raised in the United Methodist Church. My parents, my grandmother especially, were United Methodist. My my mother's sisters were Baptist. That family was Baptist. So, and I don't necessarily have a challenge with. I don't have a challenge with Christ. I do have challenges with the way that the church has treated some things and some issues, but I don't have challenges with Christ.
For example, give us maybe like just two.
Well, okay, here in the United States, I believe from African American history, the church was used to control us in a non-productive way, pretty much. Let's just say. It was not necessarily to our benefit, to our total benefit, so that we could be the best that we could possibly be. It was
for their own purpose.
Yes. But I still attend church now because that my dad really liked to hear me sing, and I do it mainly because, okay, as a nurse, I give out medicine. You know what I'm saying? I take care of people, I treat people. It's the same as far as your gifts, or it can be. And if people come up to me and say, oh, that song really touched me, it made me think about this, and I feel so much better, it's the same as medicine. Only it's spiritual medicine, let's say. So, yeah, I sing for that reason.
So where are you from?
I'm from Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio? Mm-hmm. Your great-grandparents were also from Cleveland, Ohio?
My parents, yes, as far back as I know, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were all from either Cleveland or Arkansas or North Carolina or someplace like that.
Have you done a DNA? Do you know on your ancestry DNA test?
One of my cousins did some research, and she went back to my mother's side of the family, who are Yoruba, and my father's side of the family, who are from Ghana. That's what she came up with.
So how many places have you been in Africa? You have been to?
Nigeria 3 times, Ghana once.
So, now I know why you inclined to Yoruba. Because in Nigeria we have so many tribes.
Yes.
So I was about to ask you why you chose Yoruba.
I know some Igbo people.
Okay.
Yes, and they're saying, you need to come to Igbo land. And I'm thinking, okay, one day. Because the singing is my gift, and I like to give the gift back. But the theology of Ifa makes sense to me. It just resonates with me.
How? Because some of us that we are Africans, Nigerians, we don't even know anything about Ifa.
Yes. Well, let me say my teacher, Baba Wande Abimbola, is probably 90, 91 years old. He was the first teacher that I had.
Here in America?
I met him here in America, and the first trip I went to Nigeria, it was to his compound in Oyo.
Oh.
So I stayed with him. That was in 1996, still a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time.
The idea of us collaborating with Olodumare or God and saying, I want to go to Earth and I would like to do X, Y, and Z. And okay, you can go and do that. Then choosing your head, which people choose in a hurry, or they're not careful. There's a whole story on that, a whole Odu, a verse on that.
You think people choose that in a hurry?
Some people, yes. And the reason why I believe that is because I've seen it, especially working as a school nurse for the past 25 years. I have seen some really messy and so you get here and you need help. So you ask for help, and we were talking about the Dafa. So you get Dafa done, or you get your reading done, and it says, this is what you came to Earth to do, and you need help in this area. You need to draw closer to Oshun. You need to be closer to Ogun. Ogun is working with you now. Oh, but Shango is working with you, and you might need Obatala because you're entirely too fiery. You need to shut that down some. So it makes sense because it addresses everybody's individual needs more so than everybody do this and everybody do this and everybody do it this way. To me, that doesn't necessarily work for everybody.
Because we're not the same
right.
people.
We're not. And because, especially for African Americans, we got all sorts of ancestry going on. We have Native American, we've got the slaveholders, we've got African, some of us might have Asian. There are quite a few things going on. So to be able to go somewhere and get a blueprint for ourselves to help us in the collective. Now, that's not saying you go and get a blueprint for yourself, you go on off and you do your thing and ignore everybody else. No, the community can only be as strong as the individuals in the community. So that's why I happen to like it. But I will definitely turn on my gospel playlist and play that music. Because I love gospel music. I love it.
Music is music.
Music,
the universal thing.
I have a degree in music ed, and I love music. I like opera. I don't care who says black. I don't care. I like it.
Okay.
I like opera. I like reggae. I like rock. I teach at School of Rock sometimes, and most of those little white children because they're singing rock music. I don't care. I like music. Period.
So, do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe he came to the
yes,
world?
I believe he's. Yeah, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Christ is not the issue. The issue is how humans fabricated all that up and made it such that black people coming to the United States under bad conditions already continue to be controlled, let's say. Because, okay, thinking as a nurse, somebody who had gone through a process like that has some very serious PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
So then you have somebody who's telling you, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. It don't work for me.
But my question is, is, if indeed these gods were powerful, why were slaves able to be carried all the way from Africa to the other parts of the world? How?
And my thing is this too. How was slavery allowed? And if, okay, there's a song that is sung in some churches, he takes away the sins of the world, talking about Christ. Look at our world. Look at it. Our world is kind of going crazy. So there's ways to look at that in both aspects. And I get it because a friend of mine was saying, well, you have to go to him and ask for salvation and for assistance. That makes sense. But I think if you can go to IFA and ask for salvation. You can go to Christ and ask for salvation. One of my elders told me, another older one, told me that when the missionaries went to Abeokuta and were talking about Christ, that the elders in the community said, he must have been a great Babalawo. So part of it is that it's cultural. It's regional. It depends on what that particular group of individuals believed in. The unfortunate thing is you have outsiders coming in to wherever and saying, oh no, you're not doing this right, it's this way and this is how you should do it, and then they just take over. And the next thing you know, you've lost your culture, and you're doing something totally different. And if it works for you, that's good. But I don't see any religion itself, just the religion, that works for everybody or fixes anything. It depends on the individuals and how they react to it and how they utilize it in their day-to-day life.
Okay, Iyalode, I like your jacket.
Oh, thank you.
So, what is this one now?
This cowrie shell, my cowrie shell.
And when you get that, you bought it like this?
No, I bought it at the thrift shop. It was just this, and I cut the sleeves off and cut this bottom part so it would fray. And now this gold stuff was on there, and then I put the mud cloth on and the.
I'm not surprised to see you wear this anyway. Okay, let's now talk about this about your Oyotunji. You knew him in his lifetime.
I knew of him. I never went to Oyotunji. I never made it down there. I made it all the way to Africa. Never made it to Oyotunji.
Okay, but no, now we're talking about Olodumare and our destiny. Ori, right? You said Ori. So how are you talking about Ori? Maybe that was what he chose when he was coming to earth, that he was going to die young and his sister was going to kill him.
That's possible, but I'm gonna see, and I don't, trust me, I don't know him, I don't know his family, but when I looked at the picture of his sister and I looked at a brief definition or commentary about who she was, the first thing that came to me was that she had some issues that needed to be dealt with. Maybe some emotional issues,
Okay.
maybe some Egbe issues. She might have had that, because Egbe is definitely not bad. Definitely not, because
You mean Egbe?
Egbe, yes.
Yeah.
They I've had some very profound experiences with my Egbe, which is why I went to Nigeria to get that initiation. But she, to me, looked like she needed to have some work done, and everybody doesn't agree to do it.
Yeah.
And that could have been the reason why, contributing to what happened
Okay.
with him. I don't know.
That was sad.
It was sad.
Sad.
It was very
But was a
sad.
vibrant man taking care
Yes.
of his, domain.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm going back to that answer you just gave us. Why did you go to Nigeria when you went? You're talking about Egbe. So what is Egbe?
Your spiritual companions, your spiritual mates. The basic reason I went was because I was told that I needed that work done so that I could live out my full life and not go back home, leave, die early. And I had already had an experience like that where I had left and came back.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How?
I had my oldest son, and I did quite a bit of bleeding post-op, after I had a
Okay.
C-section, a lot of bleeding, to the point where I went back into the hospital twice after I got out. He was still like a month old or so. He was very young. And the second time I went in, I remember going to a dark place. I remember two individuals who were there, a man and a woman. Everything was dark. They had on white. And they had calabashes that they were pouring water in or something. And I was floating towards them. And as soon as they turned and saw me and our eyes locked, I started coming back. So it was almost like they were telling me, no, it's not your turn. It's not your time. And when I got back, I could see myself on the operating table, and I was floating above, and then I went back into my body. I remember that very clearly. And that was way before I knew anything about this. Nothing.
So after when that happened, so who do you now consult? Did you go to church? To tell a pastor?
Who did I tell? I was so sick by the time I got out. I think I did tell somebody, but nobody really did anything. No, they didn't. They just kind of said, "Oh, okay."
So what motivated you to go to Nigeria?
My sister was going to Howard University, which is a black university. HBCU is what we call them. And she started learning about it. And when I learned about it, it resonated with me for whatever reason.
So you decided?
I decided that I wanted to start studying. So I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will ask you this again. What is IFA? What is IFA? Just explain in simple term. What is IFA? What is it, IFA?
Well, IFA is from what I've been told, it is looked at as the system, the spiritual based system of the Yoruba people of Southwest Nigeria. That's what I was told, the indigenous process. Now, I know from having gone there that Islam, Christianity have come in and people are practicing that as well, which is fine. But I found one thing was funny. The first time I went over there at night, you'd hear this knock, 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 knock. And then Baba would go to the door and then he'd come back. And then you'd hear it again. And at one point I said, Baba, why are the people knocking on the door at night? He said, it is the Christians. They are coming to get a commentary on what's going on in their life, but they don't want anybody to see them. And I thought, oh, wow. But,
well, people say this.
yeah.
That most of these pastors, a lot of them, go to Babalawo. But because Babalawo is portrayed as something bad, it's evil man. That's the way they see. Oh, we're going to see Babalawo.
Oh,
As if
my.
we're going to do one juju.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, see that we don't do that. We don't do it like that here. I don't know. We just don't.
And there are bad people, there are good people anywhere.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There are good people everywhere, and there are bad people everywhere. But we don't do that. People that I know, people I've been blessed to work with, don't function like that. We are trying to get our lives together, and we're trying to do it. We're trying to fine tune it.
Oh, okay.
So that it is specific to us.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, now we have been talking since you have not even spoken any Yoruba. So my people, I don't know. Let's talk about Yoruba language. What can you say in Yoruba?
Yoruba language is very tonal. It's very beautiful. I can say the times of the day, like e caro, e casa,
okay,
e caleo,
e
curole.
Good. Eku.
She dadani.
Adupe.
Beni. What else? Kotopwe.
Kotopwe. Good.
What was that you had said? D-Day.
D-Day.
What's this?
Stand up. Get up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And little things like that. Little things. I mean,
so okay, let me say, Olewa Gidigon, Elewa Gidigon.
Okay, I can't. I know. I should know Elewa. I can't think of it.
That's not about Yoruba. Ewa is beans.
Beans.
Then Elewa is means you are beautiful.
Oh my God.
I do play, yeah.
Yeah, I know little bits of stuff, and
okay.
some of the of course, the prayers, some of them, you know.
Okay, so how do you say Emandafa? Emandaifa? I
don't do Opuele or Ikin.
Okay.
I do Erindilogun.
Okay, what is the Erindilogun?
16 cowries.
So, but you consult Ifa?
Yes.
Did you consult Ifa before coming today?
I did not. I don't consult Ifa on every single thing I do every day. I don't do that because I don't think that people should live their lives asking. I know some people say, well, should I do this today? Should I wear this today? I don't think that's necessary. But, I did not ask because I tend to be nervous or a little scared about stuff, and I was told by my Oluo that I need to stop being so scared of stuff, and because I was going to block my blessings.
You particularly or anybody?
Me.
Okay.
He told me that.
So do you have Oluo here? Where is the Oluo here?
He is in Brooklyn, New York, but he lives in Nigeria. He goes back and forth.
Oh.
And then I have an African American elder here also in Cleveland.
Okay. For me now, I don't even know this Okin that you said. What is Okin?
Ikin.
What is
Ikin? The palm kernel nuts. The palm kernel nuts is they pull Ifa. Or pound Ifa. Is that what they call it? They pound it. And then they mark the numbers, you know.
Okay. Yeah. It's calculations.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes, the binary system.
One thing that I know too is this, that we have God, Olodumare, who is the Almighty God. We have that. So people who are atheists, they'll tell you, no, there's no God. I believe there is God.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
And from my background, I believe that Jesus Christ came into the world to die for our sins. And the Bible says we should believe in Him. Those who do not believe in Him will go to hell. So for those who do not believe in Him, they are supposed to go to hell. So
I don't think it's fair for one group of people to push and promote one way of doing things when we have people who are in Asia, we have people who are in South America, we have people who are in Alaska, we have people all over the world, and they have their neighborhoods and their cultures and their elders and their experiences and their history. I think this is where I have challenges with Christianity, is because to me it is a thing where it's an absolute. It's got to be done this way or it's wrong. But at the same time, you have Christianity that has promoted slavery and all sorts of other things. So yeah, it's difficult. It's a challenge. I don't think that it's an absolute. I just don't.
Okay, do you believe in spending money for God? Like tithes, like offering?
I think the tithes and offerings, I think they have their place because most churches have a building. You have to pay the utilities, you have to pay for the building maintenance, so it's okay to do that.
Okay, for the gods, for Oshun or for Ogun, do you still pay for libation and all those stuff?
Yes, you can pay the priest or the priestess for their work. As far as the actual Orisha, from what I've seen, having been to Nigeria, having been to Cuba, having been to places where they practice, there is a sharing of resources.
Okay.
So if I'm going to pour a legba palm oil, let's say, or eshu palm oil, then okay, this because that's what people were eating.
Yeah.
They were eating or they were drinking oti, or they were, it's not like it is now where you have the mega churches where you're tithing. That's different because people are tithing money. Whereas back in that day, it was their resources, their food, sharing food, that kind of thing.
Okay, now let's talk about migration.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of African Americans are going back home. They are going to Ghana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it a welcome thing for you? And if you were to go, where would you love to go?
I have not been to Ghana since 1997. It's been a long time.
That's a long time.
So I would need to go again and see how it is. But I did notice a slight difference in Ghana and Nigeria. I just have to say, I love going to Nigeria. It is so exciting. It reminds me of New York City. It does. It's so exciting. And I don't feel unsafe.
Good.
No, I don't feel unsafe. Now, I do know there's certain things you just don't do. You don't just roam around Nigeria by yourself as an American. You just don't do that. In Ghana, I did have an experience where I think I had temporarily lost my mind. I decided I wanted to go to a traditional shrine. I wanted to see it while I was there.
Okay.
So I'm asking. So finally the guy says, our tour bus driver says, I know somebody, I will send him. So he sends this guy the next day. He comes to pick me up. I sneak off and get in the car with him. And I didn't tell anybody in my tour group that I was going.
Oh.
That's what I said. I was out of my mind. So I get in the car and he doesn't speak a lot of English and I didn't speak any Twi. He says, who gave you permission to come? And I figured that meant, who told you you should? I said, well, I just wanted to greet the shrines. We drove a whole hour away from Accra to Kumasi. I know, I was crazy. But I wanted, ancestrally, I was just feeling like I have to go to shrine because I had already been to Elmina, the dungeon.
Okay, yeah.
And that was just unbelievable. I could not believe it. I was so overwhelmed. So I get to his house, his wife is there, and they're smiling and they're serving me soda on a tray. And when he decided he trusted me, he unlocked his shrine room and he opened it up and he let me go in and say the prayers, leave my little cola nuts and
what kind of shrine? Which god? Which one?
The Obosun.
Which one is that?
Yeah, that's Akan.
Okay.
That's an Akan. Yeah. So I went in, I said my prayers, I left the liquor and the cola nut, got in the car, he went on, took me back, and that was the end of that. I would never do that again. But in the moment, I felt totally safe.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that was the ancestors welcoming me back to Ghana. I don't know, my father's people.
So how did you feel when you saw the Elmina, the dungeon?
It was depressing. It made me sad, and here's another reason. I have to keep it 100. I have to be 100%. It made me sad because you had the dungeon in the basement, and upstairs you have the sanctuary of the church. How do you do that? Who does that? How do you do that?
Honestly, that's
How do you do that? And the thing about it is this too. Historically, when we look at the book of Revelations, let's say, how does Revelations describe Christ?
wool.
Bronze skin,
Yeah.
woolly hair. That is not the picture that they were giving us
That's right,
back in
yeah.
the day.
Yeah, even to now.
And I remember when I was 5 years old, this was a long time ago, I was looking at a picture of the really, 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 really pale skinned, straight haired Christ with blue eyes. And I was thinking to myself, he doesn't look very strong to me. But I never said that to my parents because that would have been out of line. But there's been too much manipulation of things. I don't know.
Okay, now
I
from
don't know.
the history, probably you heard this from your parents or grandparents, that time when people were supposed to worship God, Christianity, what were those things that people went through that time? Because of course it wasn't easy to adapt to being a Christian coming from Africa. You have your way you pray to your God, you believe in your God, and now you are being forced into another religion. Was it tough? Were they beating them, or were they just cajoled into?
They were beating them. They were mistreating the slaves, or the enslaved people were very badly mistreated. There have been stories about babies being buried with their heads up above the ground, and putting them out as crocodile bait, all sorts of things. Just the most evil stuff you would ever want to think about. And it's just unbelievable. So,
okay, maybe maybe that was a punishment for something.
but one thing that I do know that they said, and I know, okay, I think a little differently because I'm older.
How old are
Many
you now?
of the
Let me just ask you, how old are you, Iyalode?
70.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I turned 70 in April.
Damn.
But
Blacks don't crack.
well, thank you. But some of the younger people coming up now might not agree, and I have to remember that it's generational. It's me coming up in the United States in the 50s and 60s as a child versus them coming up in the United States in the 90s and early 2000. But so I tend to, because I was with the generation that was making the change and trying to, how should I say, figure things out,
Yeah.
so that it would work, and making adjustments. You said judgment. A jigbo mekun market.
What's that? A Jimo?
A jigbo mekun is how it's spelled. A jigbo mekun market.
Hey, where is that?
Okay. This is what we were told 40 days after we pass away. In IFA theology, we go to a jigbo mekun market for 40 days. And all of the scars and imperfections that we got when we were here on earth are removed, and there is also an accounting taken of how we lived our life here before we can go back home. Now, my question is, I'm not sure of okay, say you lived a really horrible life. I don't know, what happens.
It's going to be
that.
your money. It's going to be the destiny.
But I think it makes sense. You said judgment. It's a jigbo mekun market, and that's why I think that when I told you I had that experience after having my son, that's why it was totally black. because we were told that it's the business is transacted in total darkness, and an accounting is taken of how you lived your life. And when I saw total blackness, and the ancestors or whoever those were saw me and sent me back, it wasn't time for me to go. But I didn't recognize that until later, many years later.
So who helped you? Who helped you then?
Who helped
me? It must be
me?
Iyalode Barbara.
It was Iyalode Barbara.
Yeah.
It was my ancestors. It was somebody from my egg bay. I don't know who those people were. Somebody. It was two of them, a man and a woman. They both had on white. It was, and I remember it clear as day. And came back. So, yeah, there's accountability. Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Judgment. You can't just do any old thing you want and go back.
This might be my last question.
Okay.
So as the Iyalode, like I said before, Iyalode, normally elderly, good womankind. How are you practicing this Iyalode in the USA, being an Iyalode?
Yeah. At this point in my life, what I'm actively doing is I just got through taking some coursework with the National Speakers Association, so that I can do keynote speaking. My focus is arts, culture, and wellness. So the arts, like I said, I could tell she was the arts person because she's looking at the things in the background, and I do the same thing. My music, dance. But IFA told me I need to be dancing. They said, you need to be dancing. Yeah, are you dancing? I said, oh, kind of. You need to be dancing. And the thing is, that was some babas a year ago. 20 years ago, Baba Bambola told me the same thing. I'd be dancing and dancing as I got older, despite problems with legs. And my legs be achy some days, but I can still dance. So it's arts, it's culture, it's talking about this, it's talking about this type of thing.
What about healthy living? Are you adding that?
What's that?
Healthy living.
Yes. It's talking about, I went to the gym this morning, did my workout. But it's mental health too, because quite a few people have issues with their mental health, mental stability. So those are the focuses, and I really would prefer to get more speaking engagements as opposed to, just working in the schools. I'm kind of aging out of it, if that makes sense, and I would rather talk about all the stories. I have a book out too.
Okay.
It's called Hood Medical.
You didn't bring it.
I forgot.
Okay.
It's called Hood Medical. This is why I sing. I'm going to send you the link to my website that people can go on my website and see it. But these are the types of things that I am doing now. Because I don't want to do too much, and be exhausted. But yeah.
Okay. What about at work? The Iyalode thing at work. How do you practice it? You said something.
Oh yeah. I do have spiritual godchildren, people that I mentor and that I teach, and that I assist. So there's that, and I am hoping to get some maybe guest lecturer positions to speak to college students, maybe in comparative religion, so I can show them, okay, this is what happens here and this is what happens in Christianity. Let's see how the
synergy between
where they meet. Where they meet, where they might not meet, and how that could look for people.
Okay, good. What about language? What about language? How many ACR members or people do we have in the US right now? Like African traditional religion people who believe so much in
that's
African tradition.
A lot. Yes, a lot.
So it's increasing.
Yes. Cleveland is not one of the bigger places. Atlanta is big. Florida can be big. Now, and when I have to say this with all fairness, when we're talking ATRs, we can be talking about ATRs in Cuba, in Brazil, here in the United States, because whoever was brought across in the Middle Passage, it depends on where their ancestors were deposited. So if their ancestors were left in Cuba, then their descendants are there.
Yeah.
And I've been there, and yes, they do. It's a little different than the way we do it, a little bit, but it's cultural. So yeah, it's.
So you think Africans should not abandon their tradition?
I don't think so. And you will have people who will say, "Oh, well, you can't do both, and you're making it a hybrid." Okay, we as African Americans, we've got a bunch going on in here genetically. Our DNA yes, we got a lot going on.
It's
so
messed up.
it's like I don't have a problem with people doing things differently. I was personally told I would do things differently by one of my elders with my initiation. Okay. So what I don't agree with is people going on YouTube or going on Google and looking at stuff and saying, "Oh, I self-initiated." No, you did not.
You can't be self-initiated.
No, you can't do that. It's a whole process.
So what happened during initiation? What do you do? What happened there?
Well, you get cleaned off, you get herbs, you get your hair shaved most of the time. You when it's interesting because people will say, "Well, you're sacrificing animals." Okay, well, no. Because when we would do that in Ibadan, the prayers would be said over whatever it was, and it would be taken immediately back to the area where they're cooking and prepared for the pot. Nobody says anything about the Jewish people koshering their food. Nobody says anything about the Islam halal method. But as soon as we start, "Oh, it's evil," stop it. It's not. It's cultural. And I have to say, when I went, this was one time I went, and I noticed when we got out of the car, when we got to Nigeria, I think it was Ibadan. We got out the car, we have our suitcases, people on their, porches up there were looking, and they were smiling. Well, in part because they know we're going to be doing all this work during the day, and in the evening, it's going to be fried goat and Heineken's and Fuji music. It's going to be a party. And it was the best thing. It was so much fun. And the community would come out and participate. It was wonderful. And I finally got the fried goat right.
So what can you tell Africans out there now? Because I tell you the truth, a lot of us Africans, let me say 85% of African Nigerians, we are Christians and Muslims.
Yeah.
We all believe that our culture is barbaric. That's religion. Our traditional religion is barbaric. It's so deep.
I think maybe if you could refer to it as barbaric, that's a different way of. I can understand that because if you come here and you're used to going to the grocery store, let's say, to get your meat, then yes, it looks barbaric, because the last time I was in Nigeria, I don't remember seeing a grocery store. So that meant people were still going to the market. Now, my grandmother, when I was a little girl living with my grandmother, our family, I remember her going to the market down on 55th and Woodland and getting live birds. That's how they did it then. I remember that. The challenge is this. Yes, it's more convenient, but from the wellness part, the nurse part, they're putting hormones in those things. So the barbaric part, no, it's just going back to nature. And quite a few people are going back to nature, wanting to grow their own food, including their birds, if they eat it, and including their four-legged
in America?
Yes. I know what a farm is here in Cleveland. I've been going there for 30 years. Those birds are not big and bulky like that. And you can tell what's a young one and what's an old one. So I just say to Nigerians, I'll say, don't be so hard on yourselves and your history, because we find benefit in it over here. I think, and this is one reason I wanted to do this, I think that we need to come like this and talk about things, because there are misunderstandings, you know, and I hope I get to go a few more times before it's all, you know, said and done. I'd like to go.
Go to Nigeria. Would you like to naturalize?
I don't know. It depends. If I can go back and forth.
I know, but would you like to be a Nigerian fully? Like being a Nigerian?
Forever and just living?
No, dual citizen.
Or dual citizen. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. There or Ghana.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. It's peaceful. I didn't have any problem over there.
Oh, okay. Tony, what do you have to add to this? The lady behind the camera. Say something, girl.
It's been a wonderful time. Education, learning, laughing. I've learned a lot, and my perception about traditional religion has a little bit changed, especially our destiny and how we can know where we're going and where we are coming from. Nigerians out there, you have to make a decision. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to really know more about your culture? A lot of Americans are getting to know their roots now. They're getting to know where they are coming from. So Nigerians out there, are you going to be sitting down there, you have everything, and you're not making good use of it? So I think we should make that a part of our lifestyle.
Thank you.
I hope they don't sell out and let people come in and start taking over.
In Africa?
Yes. I hope that doesn't happen.
You think people are beginning to take over, take charge in Africa?
I think they're trying to, yes. And I have heard that certain countries are putting people out, and they need to keep the country, because it'll just be exploited for the resources and making money and.
Anyway, Iyalode, so what's the last sentence or the last words or the last advice that you want to tell us on this show today? You tell our viewers out there. What is that thing that you say have somewhere that you have not said?
Oh, interesting. Do you know the song Iyalode?
Kolebaje. Okay. You want to sing it? Okay, let's sing it.
Okay.
Iṣẹ́ Olúwa kò lè bàjẹ́ o. Iṣẹ́ Olúwa kò lè bàjẹ́ o. Thank you so much, Iyalode. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I have a gift for you.
Oh, okay.
This is for you. Yeah, this is for you. And I told you this is a brand from Bear Base. In case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what's this one hanging in there for? Yeah, this is for you. They're the sponsor of the show.
Oh, thank you.
Bear Base sponsors my program.
Oh, yeah.
And I have this for you and this.
Thank you
Manage
so
it
much.
for me. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.
And the sugar scrub is great.
Thank you so much, ma'am. She's gone. Wow. I love that woman. And I never knew this interview was going to be this long. Almost 1 hour. Guys, if you have watched this video till now, subscribe. Just subscribe. Just like and leave comments. So, talking about this interview, you and I know about the transatlantic slave trade. Yes. This video is not for you to hate the colonialists, the white people. Not to have this hatred for our kings and our royalties that sold our people out to the colonialists. No, they are all dead and gone. They're dead and gone. But the bottom line is we have to come together. We have to collaborate. We have to collaborate. And how do we collaborate? We have to see every black person as your brother or your sister. The Africans here, or anywhere in the diaspora, should see all the African Americans as brothers and sisters. We should love each other. We should help each other. We shouldn't look down on each other. Africa is not a place where you see horses, lions walking around the streets. No. You need to go to the zoo before you see animals. Can you believe that at this time and age, a lady was asking me if I missed all the lions that I see on the roads in Nigeria? I was like, what? You need to get to the zoo before you see any animal. Before you see, not domestic animals, all those wild animals. You have to get to the zoo. So Africa is not like that. It's not dark. So we need to love ourselves. We need to defend our continent. We need to defend our nations. Because if we do not, people will go in there and take over. So we have to rise up and love our languages, maintain our languages, our clothing, our hair, everything, our way of life. We need to maintain it and try to remember. And let's go back to it. I'm not against us imbibing the culture of the West. I'm not against it. You can see my hair, my makeup, my everything. I'm not against it. But I'm against forgetting your source. Because that adage that says, that is, a river that forgets its source will run dry. So anywhere you are in the diaspora, please don't forget your source. Don't forget your root. Always remember where you come from. Remember the child of whom you are. Anywhere you are in the world. So that's it. Talking about traditional religions, yeah, why not go back and retrace your steps? Like in families now, you know by your names, you know where you come from. You just go and think about it. Think about it and know what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you here to go and start worshiping Ogun or Kiniko. No. It is your life. It is you as a personality. So, if it's Christianity, Islam, Hindu, and whatever, it's your decision. I'm just here to let you know what happened to her and how she has shown so much love to our continent, that is Africa. Thank you so much, guys. I want to thank the Bear-based Sugar Wax Cake Company. It's the first in Africa. They're my sponsor. Thank you so much. They have their products in some parts of Africa and here in the US. If you need the sugar wax kit, you can contact me if you're in the US. You know what it does? All those shaveable places, it will help you to shave it. And it's organic. There are no chemicals in it. Like, subscribe. And if you would like for me to bring her back, or you have questions to ask her, if you want me to do a live show with her, let me know. If you have some questions you want to ask her, please let me know in the comment section. And you can go to our website, that's www.bbbeyondcategory.com. You can read more about her and read about her books you want to buy. Okay guys, I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.